Alright, as we are working our way through this sidebar, we are almost to the end. We're looking at effect controls. Effect controls are a little bit complicated, partly because I have some modules on here that make things even more complicated, which does not help. But let's take a look at special effects. These are a feature of FX Master. I'm only going through these because if you're on the server, you might want to know about them. You can drag these out using this special window. So let's say I want a fire cone. I can drag that out and that will fire. Now you might think that this has something to do with the effects window. It does not. It's located here on the effects, but it's not an effect per Foundry terms. To actually manipulate that effect later, you want to go to tile controls, and you'll notice that this has actually made a tile with the properties of a tile, and it's an animated tile. The volume is currently set to 0. If I turn that up, it won't actually have any sound because there's nothing on that video file. But that is where that actually lives. So if you're a DM and you've dragged that out, then you're like, help, how do I get rid of it? That is how. Notice that there's some custom folders in there too. Weather controls, these are more default. You'll notice that the list is expanded. If you're using Foundry without anything, you will be like, why are there so many options? I don't see all those options. But this is pretty default. You'll notice that there are also some subsettings here. Some of this is expanded by FX Master, but don't worry about it too much if this looks different. This is basically just how you enable effects, so I can make it snow. You can also enable these independently, so I could have a bunch of birds flying around while it snows. Or I could, if that effect had actually make birds appear. So you can layer on these special effects. Be aware that they do impact performance if they actually properly animate, and you can clear effects that way. There are also filters you can use, and you'll notice that even though I was supposed to clear these effects, there's still some lingering ambient effects based on how long they loop. You can also do some filters using FX Master as well, I believe. Some of them do not anti-alias well, so like the sepia filter is not supposed to cause all that jitter, but it's probably not coming through quite the same on the video, but it comes through with sort of like a scanline effect for me. Some of these effects are just kind of way over the top. You'll notice that it's auto-adjusting for exposure, but for the moment it was a flashbang. You can also filter things like color, which is the effect that I think is most useful. So let's say I want to make this scene bathed in a pale blue light. I'm going to do this, and then tint my scene. And you'll notice that if that had properly applied, it would make things look different. Yep, there we go. Also, my weather effects seem to be stuck on. That was supposed to clear up a while ago. So let me manually toggle that to see if I can't get that fixed. Let's talk about how you get the weather effects in scenes. You can do that here with a certain weather effect. Foundry only supports a few by default. And so you can set that up here. It's not as robust as those other effects tools, but if you get stuck and it won't turn off, that is probably where you need to go to fix it, like I just did. And let's turn off that filter, and that does it for our basic special effects. These special effects will animate in and out, so if you're doing them while players are on the scene, they will see that change, and that can have performance issues for people on low-end machines, so do be warned about that. But that's the basics of using special effects. Let's meet back next time to talk about a few more things, and then we'll talk about actors.